At the end of chapter 7 and at the beginning of chapter 8, this is in Hebrews, we have a crescendo moment. So there's a sense in which all of chapter 7 has been building up to this point, and then we hear this. We do have such a high priest. We have a mediator, someone who stands in the gap for us, one who sat down at the right hand of the throne of majesty in heaven and who serves in the sanctuary, the true tabernacle set up by the Lord, not by man. We do not have somebody who lives in the shadows. We do not have somebody who is messing around in the human tabernacle. We have somebody who is in the ultimate heavenly tabernacle. We have someone who's ascended into the very presence of God the Father. And we have someone who has ascended there and who intercedes on our behalf, who acts as our defense attorney. God the Father sent God the Son. He set aside the trappings and glory and honor that were rightfully his in heaven. He descends, he enters time and space through a virgin's womb. He is humiliated, he suffers, he's defaced, he's defamed, he's crucified. Then he is exalted, he is resurrected, he ascends back into heaven, and he is now seated. Priests only sit when their work is done. He is seated at the right hand of God the Father. His salvific work on our behalf has been completed. We don't need to add to it. And he is there advocating for us. And all of this should encourage us, and we see this as it spills over now, leaving chapter 7 and entering into chapter 8. So, but the ministry Jesus has received is as superior to theirs as the covenant of which he is the mediator is superior to the old one. And it is founded on better promises. For if there had been nothing wrong with the first covenant, no place would have been sought for another. But God found fault with the people and said, "This time is coming. The time is coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. It will not be like the covenant I made with their forefathers when I took them by the hand to lead them out of Egypt, because they did not remain faithful to my covenant, and I turned away from them, declares the Lord. This is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after that time, declares the Lord. I will put my laws in their minds and write them on their hearts. I will be their God, and they will be my people. No longer will a man teach his neighbor and a man his brother, saying, know the Lord, because they will all know me, from the least of them to the greatest, for I will forgive the wickedness and will remember their sins no more." So what we need to understand is that a covenant is like a contract, but different. And so there's all these different covenants that get established in the Bible. Contracts, you could say, are often agreements between people who have competing interests and there may be some animosity there. A covenant is something in which it's largely being based on love. So I say to people when I'm officiating at a wedding, I try to get the attention of the bride and groom, and I say, look, you're about to make commitments that no good attorney would ever suggest that you make. You are giving up rights. You're saying, I'm going to serve. I'm going to be committed to you. Even if you don't keep your side of the deal, I'm going to work to keep my side of the deal. A covenant is based on love. It's a commitment, and it sort of gets captured. And so there are different kinds of covenants in the Old Testament. The first one is with Adam. You got one with Noah. You got one with Abraham. You got a covenant with Moses. You get a covenant with David. And then Jesus is bringing a new covenant. And what this passage says here at the end of chapter 7, in particular, at the beginning of chapter 8, you get this idea that there had been a previous covenant, but just as Jesus is better than the Levitical priests, he is bringing a new covenant that is based on who he is and the work that he does, that is that much better than the old covenant. So this is a powerful statement. It's a different angle to sort of highlight that Jesus is better than the angels, better than the law, better than the priests, better than Moses, better than Abraham, better than anyone or anything else. We find the fullest expression of life in an ongoing, unfolding, deep connection with Jesus. Have a good day.